Hey, this is Kathy from Gadget Stop 321, and today I'm joined by my sister Gina again, and we're going to talk about our experience at the 2025 St. Louis Pin Show. We just got back yesterday. We went there just like last year. We got there on Thursday and were able to go through the trader room, and I bought a pin then. And then we had a table Friday and Saturday. We came home Saturday at the end of the show. And we're just going to talk about our experience and what we got there. Did you go there with anything in mind that you were looking for?
No, I just went, same as last year, with just, a certain amount of money that I didn't want to spend more than, and I actually did pretty good. I just bought one pin.
Did you go there wanting to buy a pen, or was it just totally wide open? Could you have bought anything else, or did you pretty much know you were going to buy a pen?
I pretty much knew I was going to buy a pen, but if I saw something else, like a notebook or anything that I really wanted, I would have. But I was pleased with only buying one pen.
My plan was to buy one pen and to get 2 custom grinds. And I ended up getting 2 pens and no custom grinds. That was kind of a surprise for me because I was really looking forward to those custom grinds, but I don't regret my decision because we both got small maker pens, and those are, when you see the pen you like, when you see the material you like, you may never see that again. So I couldn't pass that up. I can always get a custom grind at another pen show, or if I absolutely have to have a nib ground, I can send it off. So I'm happy with what I did. Anything stand out from this year you want to talk about? Or
I stayed more at the table this year, and I didn't walk around as much as what I did last year, checking out the other tables.
Last year, I went through the trader table. I didn't buy anything. You bought a pen at the trader table last year, and then last year, Gina would walk around and she'd buy a pen and come show me like the
Sailor, and the pin lugs.
And the pin lugs, and I'm like, I want to go get one of those too. So actually, you went and bought my pin lugs, and then I went and bought a Sailor pen because she was walking around more and she was finding stuff. This year, she said she didn't walk around much, and I said, Saturday, it was yesterday, I said, hey, I'm gonna get up and walk around and look at stuff. And I knew that I went through half the room, and I was like, I've got to get back to the table. I've already got 2 pens. I'm in danger of spending more money. So, and I'm content with what I had. I didn't want to get so much stuff that I couldn't enjoy the new thing that I got. So I walked around a little bit, but then I went back to my table. Okay, what else?
I think just talking to the folks that came up to the table and discussing the different pens that they had, kind of brought back, hey, I've got some of these pens too that I need to go back and revisit and start using again.
And I thought it was cool, the familiar faces, the people that we saw from last year, families like mom, dad, small kids. That one particular family, and you know who I'm talking about. It's a mom, a dad, and 3 small kids, like one in a stroller. Those kids are just having a ball. You'd think they'd be fussing, getting in trouble, but
no.
Last year, this year, and I've noticed some of the booths, they have stuff for little kids. I mean, they know they're going to be little kids there, and I noticed at Darrell's table, he had some cool little multi-pens for kids, and little 3D printed things different tables will have, and the kids enjoy that. And that was cool. And like I said, just seeing the people that were there last year, people coming by saying, hey, telling me they enjoyed the thing that they bought for me. I remember one gentleman came by who bought the Rotring 800 pencil. He came by to tell me how much he loves that pencil, and it was really cool to get to see those people again. The people at the tables around us were really fun to talk to.
Yes.
Beside us, there was a gentleman named Ron who had hundreds, at his table had hundreds of vintage pens. But I talked to his daughter and she said he has thousands. He's been collecting for 30 years or more, and he was really fun to talk to. There was a young man and his dad behind us. The young man turns pens on a lathe out of interesting materials. And I mean, both of them, I forget it right off the top of my head, their names. I'll put them on the screen, the people that were around us. But they were really fun to talk to. And that's a nice thing about a pen show, getting to talk to like-minded people about your geeky interest. That's really fun.
I had some folks from work drive up. They went to a Cardinals game. They did stop by.
And
just
see what it was all about.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna flip the camera around and we can show you what we got. Okay, this was the first pen I got during the Trader Day on Thursday from Durrell Pens. With each of his pens, you get a nice little Galen leather pen sleeve. And this was the pen I got. Now, it's raining here, so the lighting's not real great, but this is like a combination of copper and a teal swirl. And I got it, all of his pens have Bach nibs, so I got it with a medium. I have several extra fine, and extra fine and fine flex nibs in this number 6 size, so I thought I would get a medium. And I'm gonna let Gina do my writing sample. And I put a Iroshizuku Syoro in there. And if you know the color of Syoro, it leans a little more green. It's a combination of blue and green, and that's the color of this pen. And it looks like the copper part is kind of pearly, and then the teal part is sparkly. And I knew when I saw this one that I had to get it. And Mr. Adolphus Smith, he's the one who makes the pens at Durrell Pens. It's he and his wife there that operate that table. He said they made this acrylic themselves. This is one of their custom pours, and I told him this one was a winner because that just jumped out at me instantly. Okay, and ever since the Arkansas Pen Show, I've been wanting another pen from Magnolia. I wanted one with a clip. The nice thing about, now this is just some of his pens that have clips. You have to test them. This one posts so nicely. It's a black and purple, kind of bluish purple swirl with the dark hardware, and you can see it tapers, but it doesn't taper so much that it looks odd. You can feel a little bit of a seam there, but it's rounded. It doesn't look, there's not a big step there. And you can see that posts really nice, even for me with smaller hands. And I got it with it's a black coated, this one's Jovo. This is a Jovo Fine. And I've got it inked up with 3 Oysters. Let me see what this is. 3 Oysters Purple Gray. You can see it puts down, that fine nib puts down less ink, but I'm really looking forward to writing with that one. after I got mine, then Gina went over there, and you can talk about your pen.
So I'd actually gone over and looked right before you purchased yours, and I saw yours and loved it. But then I'd also seen this one. It had, it was again the black, and it had a little bit of the purple, but it had some copper and turquoise also, and I just really loved this pen. So I got mine, and it had the black nib, but I got mine in a broad.
Yeah, and I noticed Gina's has the magnolia symbol, like on the box, the little magnolia flower engraved on the nib. Mine doesn't, and I didn't realize that until later. So if that's something that's important to you, make sure you watch for that when you purchase.
No.
Okay, let me wet this a little bit. When I was paying for my pen, Gina hadn't bought her pen yet. It was sitting there on a stand, and I thought, oh man, that's a pretty pen too. So, and I told the gentleman who runs Magnolia Pens, his name is Lowry Wilson, and I told Mr. Wilson that he and I have similar taste in resin materials, because there are so many of his pens that I'm just in love with. They are beautiful. So those are our 3 purchases from the pen show. And we did, let me show the mug that we got. Just like last year, they had a commemorative mug. Let me zoom out a little bit. And we each got one. And so that was our purchases. We didn't get the commemorative ink. The commemorative ink was kind of similar to that. It was a darker blue that shaded a really pretty light blue. I mean, it was a pretty ink, but I've got a lot of blue inks. So, and I didn't get any inks. Sailor, I think, had their pen show ink. Neither one of us bought any ink this year. I've got a lot of ink. I have plenty to choose from. All right, I'll flip it back around and we'll see if we have anything else to add. Okay, any final thoughts?
I think when looking at the pens at Magnolia's, the pen that you got was really the first one that really caught my eye. So it was a tough decision on which pen to get, but I am happy with.
Yeah, I had a little buyer's remorse. When I was paying for my pen, I was looking at the pen Gina ended up getting and thinking, should I have gotten that one? So when she said she was going over to the Magnolia table, I was hoping she would get that pen, and she did, so that was cool. One thought I wanted to add was, it was really neat to see how many young people were there.
Yes.
There were, especially Saturday, it looked like there were a lot of students there. And there was one young lady, I saw her, I went to a class this year. I would advise taking advantage of the classes. If there's any class that they offer or workshop that that's offering something that you're interested in, take advantage of it. I went to the vintage, it was called Vintage Pen Tasting, but it ended up being a panel of vintage pen experts talking about stuff that, newbies like me needed to keep in mind when they were looking at vintage pens. Brian and Lisa Anderson were there. They were on the panel, so that was really cool. I got to talk to Brian and Lisa Anderson and tell them the role they had in me getting started fixing up Estabrooks. But there were some young people in there, learning about vintage pens. And one of the girls that was in that workshop on Saturday kept coming over to our table. We had told her she could use our ink to dip test her pens, and she would keep bringing over these vintage pens and testing them with our Waterman ink. And finally she came back and showed us the ones that she ended up buying. And that was really neat to see young people interested in the older stuff.
And then we had the one young lady that she won an Esterbrook?
Oh yeah, young lady. won an Esterbrook on an eBay auction. And she was so excited because she had been watching some videos about me talking about fixing up my Esterbrookes, restoring them. So I was able to advise her what videos she needed to watch that I had watched to learn how to restore it. So that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
Me doing the videos about what I was bringing has been a hit both years, because
Yes.
I've had people saying, hey, I saw that on the video. That's what I came to buy. That was cool. And the gentleman selling the vintage pins beside me, his daughter came Saturday and said, oh, I saw your video. Hey, do you have that Traveler's Notebook? And I'm like,
just sold it.
yeah, I sold it the evening before. And she told her dad, she's like, I was wanting that Traveler's Notebook and you were sitting right beside her all day yesterday. That was kind of funny. She had a chuckle about that. Oh, and the gentleman's wife had a 3-pound Chihuahua. I'll have to include a picture of it. It was the most precious thing. The social aspect of the pin show is just so much fun. I think I'm going to have to make more of a point, if I do this again next year, if I have a table, to make sure I tell people that I'm not going to be there Sunday. Because later in the day, Saturday, I had several people looking at, or I had 2 people looking at the Parker premiere, and they seemed really interested. They really liked it.
And one person looking at the Lamy.
One person looking at the Lamy that was really interested in it, she said her collection was almost exclusively Lamys, and I had that Lamy logo that was a special edition or a limited edition, something like that, the one with the pearl lacquer on it. She was interested in that, and there was someone that was interested in the black Pilot Legno. He really liked that. And we had a couple of people, I thought there was going to be, there were 2 or 3 people that were interested in the Sailor Pro Gear Slim Mini. I was surprised by how many people were not aware that the Pro Gear Slim came in a Mini. You know, I just take it for granted that everybody who uses fountain pens sits around watching YouTube videos about them all day, but they don't, you know.
Yeah.
There are some normal people out there that just use fountain pens like a normal person. But there were several people that were interested in that. I probably should have mentioned, you know.
Not going to be there the next
day.
day.
Or had a little sign. I've learned a couple things over the past 2 years. Slowly kind of streamlining. Of course, I sold a lot of stuff. You said you might bring some stuff next year, which is good because my collection's kind of down to, I might not bring that much next year. My Legnos didn't sell. And kind of like last year when the E95S didn't sell, I was kind of happy. And I used it for a year. Used it a couple times, and I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to let it go. So a gentleman bought it for his wife. That was kind of nice.
Yeah.
But my Legnos didn't sell, and I was kind of happy. So
they are nice.
I might just keep those for my Pilot collection. I'm okay with that. I sold most of my notebooks, thank goodness. Didn't have to bring those home. Yeah, now there's room on the table for your stuff next year. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah,
good trip.
It's a nice vacation, a vacation that pays for itself if you play your cards right.
Yeah.
If you don't go crazy and spend too much money. I came out of this one more content because it's fun being, you know, having the table to kind of anchor you down. Because at Arkansas, the Arkansas pin shows quite a bit smaller, but just making that loop around there,
yeah,
it's like there's so much stuff I want to buy. So yeah, I'm really content with what I have. Now I just got to get this cast off so I can play with my pens. Man, it's driving me crazy. I think I've got 3 more days. I go to the doctor And I'm gonna ask if they can saw this thing off and just let me wear a
If
brace.
not, I'll do it for her.
All right, if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this or more videos about pens and ink and paper, I'm going to get back to doing my ink test. I miss doing that. Having my injured arm really helped me realize that I miss testing inks with the different size nibs. If you like stuff like that, please subscribe to my channel.